Hey guys, Chrono, and I've been really enjoying the Theme Chronicle event through Master Duel, and I have had way more success than I would have thought when I first started this. So, as you can see here, I've had quite a few wins, and my first 20 games, I actually won 90% of them, so 18 out of the 20, and was pretty excited about how well I was actually able to do. And I think what I really liked is I was looking at the deck profiles of the people I was facing. The decks were not necessarily running anything like too crazy. It was almost like they were embracing the spirit of the event, really trying to make it where you get to play. Yes, there's some interruptions, but really letting your decks kind of run the course. And so I really enjoyed it. And I was surprised that with my Mekk-Knight Crusadia build, I was able to actually have as much success as I've had. As you guys know, I just don't have the gems to go out and get new decks all the time to fit an event. This deck right here, notice that it gave me a pretty good time for my money there. And I was kind of laughing like, of course, this is what beats me. It's basically my own version of the deck. Saw a lot of that one, the Plunder Patrol, and I think those were some of the decks that were already pre-made, which I think was a really great idea. That deck, I was surprised didn't put in more work against me. Six Samurai is really, really good, especially once it gets going. It can be very difficult to combat when you look at everything that's actually out there. And so again, just wanted to show you the decks I ran into. Zombie World I thought was another good one that people might end up embracing. And the Mekk-Knight deck just worked. I did enjoy this deck, especially with Chain Energy. You know me, I love burn strategies. So when I saw that there was people trying that, and then when I saw the Penguin card, Penguin Soldier, I was like, oh my gosh. Because that takes me back to when I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh to begin with. I mean, those are the kind of strategies I was running. I had a ton of fun doing it because at one point I was in like a no attack phase and stall situation, at least until I learned how to properly play. So I did want to show you just why, if you take a look at Chain Energy here, it can really put in much more work than a person would realize. So first I'm going to go ahead and start by attributing off his monster here. So the Kaiju comes out, and right away there's a Chain of the Trap here, which I thought was kind of interesting. Notice with the hand that I've got, I'm kind of limited in everything that I probably would want to do, but I still feel like I can find a way to still win. So notice I am taking a ton of damage though, as things keep going. Love this Mekk-Knight card, Blue Sky. It just helps you to get a +1 typically, sometimes even up to a +3 if there's 3 cards in the column. I've got Maximus, which I know is all I'm going to need in this situation. I should be good. Okay, so I go for the Link 2 here. And I like the Link 2 because there's certain things that I like to grab when I get this card, especially Power, the quick play there, because if I'm attacking, I should be okay. So notice now I'm already down to 5K and I'm not done yet, right? I mean, there's a lot that's happening here as you're watching this. So then I go ahead and I get out Yellow Sky, which I'll get to that card later here, but bring out the boy. Equamax is just so good. And then notice it got me all the way down to half my life points. If he had a true stall back row there, I would have been in trouble. I mean, depending on what he had going, that definitely could have been a big situation. Now, I didn't show you the previous burn strategy because the guy set 4 back row and I had a Harpy's Feather Duster. And so, that kind of just sealed the deal in that situation. This one surprised me, the Symphotic monsters. I was surprised how many times I did run into that build. I didn't expect that I would see it as much as I did. I did enjoy the Max C challenge. I actually ran into that several times, and I completely rolled the dice when I saw that card most games. There was 2 times where one time I took the Max C challenge and didn't win, And then there was another time where I didn't take it and I put my card in the wrong column, and I ended up with something beating me that was also Crusadia based. Now, that was a really good card there, Majesty's Fiend, and he got it out. But thankfully, this is why I always run Kaijus in my deck. I was able to Kaiju his card, and then that allowed me to be off and running. If not, that would have really shut down a lot of the things that I wanted to do in that duel. Oh, now this was fun. So I got to show you this replay. I really love when someone is all in, and of course they're going to do it with Sue ships. And when my good buddy of mine, KCS Games, because I make budget decks for kids, he said to me, hey, I really think you should pick up this stuff. It's super cheap. And I had looked at it a little bit and thought, it's all right. And the more I've messed with it, the more I'm like, this is actually a legit deck. I wish I would have done it more. So notice it's not a bad start for this individual. Gets the special summon, able to exceed summon right away, which is really good. Love this card because it just leads to that extra draw, which is always nice. I mean, that any card that just gives you a +1 like that, gets a body out on the field, I'm always like, yes, sign me up. So going through everything, gonna exceed summon again. And yeah, just goes for another Gunkan Sue ship card. And notice this time a draw of 2. And I do like this, uses the field spell then, and goes ahead and ends. Now, I was surprised that there was no back row. I really did expect with Sue ships you'd have more. So like right here, here's why Blue Sky is so good. I get 2 cards here. Well, I could have gotten 2 cards if it wasn't for the Ash. But honestly, I'm really okay with that because now they've taken the bait. That's what's nice about this deck. I can usually play through multiple interruptions, unless I'm facing Weather Painters. That's really hard. Which we'll get to that at some point here. But this worked out really well for me. Now, I was real surprised by this. As soon as he saw the Crusadia card, I'm shocked he didn't go for the Max C. So I'm able to go ahead and start running, and I figure at this point, I'm pretty sure I've got the game if I play this right. So I go ahead and I just decide to go into my plays. Now, I did go with the Mekk-Knight Link 2 here, and the reason being I want to get the trap. The trap puts in so much work. I mean, it is able to shut down so much of what my opponent can do, which I'm going to get to later in this video. But boy, if you're looking for control, you can do that with this build that I have. And there are going to be times you need control. I mean, if you don't have that, there's decks out there that can definitely get around this because it is a simple deck. That's why the Mekk-Knight engine just adds so much to it. So right away, I activate Maximus. Then I go ahead and I activate Leonis. Activate the field spell so I can attack all his monsters. Great damage to start. He's going to get the effect from his field spell. That leads to a card coming out here. Okay, then he's able to get out a card that's actually going to put in some work. So that's actually not a bad card whatsoever. Goes ahead and chains. And look, I mean, look at the cards here. Jeez. Now, I go ahead and go in. Now, he tries using his card here, but I go ahead and I get rid of one of my cards just to make sure that I'm still good. And that negates his effect, and then that's the game. Oh, man, I love when I can hit with this deck. It's definitely one of my all-time favorite decks because it's budget. And I know it's budget, and it really shouldn't be able to win as much as it does, but yet I still find a way. And as you've seen from the videos, I think this is my 3rd time using this deck for a festival event, and it just puts in the work. So it's one of those things of, if it's working, why change anything, right? I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. Forbidden Droplet definitely put in some work several times against me. I was surprised, though, by how many times I could still make it work. That also was something interesting, too, the amount of Red Eyes decks that I ran into. This time, though, I did run into the Max C and lost. And it was just too much for me to combat, especially once he got going with that engine. I just didn't have a hope of making it out of there. Now, yes, you saw that correctly. My next 20 matches, I actually lost once. So a 95% rate going against a cubic engine there, which was very fun, mixed with some Fallen of Albaz. Another burn strategy, which I absolutely enjoyed going against, just because it's burn, so why not? Now, again, Plunder Patrol, I don't think I lost to Plunder Patrol one time this entire 50 matches, because I did go 50 matches. I think if you get 44 wins, you finish the event. And so I wanted to actually go the full 50, because it's just easier, I feel, percentage-wise, to get a feel for where you are in the event. Now, this deck rocked me. If I had no interruptions, the whole goal here is to get rid of my hand. And so you can do that with Trishula. The reason being, there's ways to recycle the card, and with the amount of drawing that 6 Sam does, oh, there's no hope. I was surprised by the amount of Toon decks I faced, but really, with my deck, it's just too powerful for it. Just way too much in that situation. I did run into Orcust. That came up several times, but again, I was surprised by just how well I was able to handle that, because it did come up, and I think I had one loss to Orcust the entire time. Oh, this was a great duel, because I really had to work through 2 good interruptions, and anytime I can get past that deck, I feel pretty confident about just how I played, because you have to play it right. If you let Phantasms start going, it can be really difficult to get past. Did see some Dark Magicians at times. It's a solid deck, but I feel that Crusadia shuts that down well. Now, I did run into this a few times too with Gladiator Beast, and one time I didn't activate my Leonis and Maximus, and then I had to grind out the rest of the game, because then he started to make a comeback on me. Like I said, I did run into Crusadia as well. Lots of people, well, not lots, but several people were also playing it. And I feel very confident in that match. I think I lost to it only 2 times. One time was because I literally just punted where I put the card. Had I just been thinking more critically, I would have been okay there. I would have at least had a chance to mount a comeback. And again, a lot of max Cs, I did run into that, but it really wasn't that bad, which really surprised me. I would have thought that would have been out there more, but with the way everyone was constructing their decks, it just really seemed like they were going for different things other than like top tier, which I think is a lot of fun as well. That you're looking just for decks that you can play and have a lot of fun with. Oh, now this was a good deck. This scrap deck that put in some major work. I thought for sure that was going to be a loss when I had to work through the Masquerena. I was definitely freaking out, and then I had to get through the Orcust trap. I thought for sure that was going to be an L, and it ended up not being. Now, unfortunately, they had the patch update, and so I lost 3 of the games, I think, that I ended up playing. Now, one of them I lost, and it was to this very deck you're seeing, which was Weather Painters. I mean, man, once they had that board up, I had to work through 3 negates, still found a way to still continue, but that guy just had me on lock. There was nothing I could do. This was a also interesting deck to go against the Symphotic ones like I was talking about. But this might have been my favorite match that I've had so far doing the event. Man, I love Rockets. There's something so much fun about the way that they play. And when you can get out the boss monster that banishes everything like that, it's just fun. This was the duel that... Oh, no. This duel was also pretty good. I lost literally to just the Evening Star. If everything else was out there was just strictly Blue Eyes, I would have been fine. It was the Evening Star that got me. This was the Crusadia match that I punted that I mentioned earlier. Definitely should have won that match, but placed one of my cards in the wrong column. As you can see, I went through another Crusadia build. So I definitely came out ahead in those matchups. And again, not a single loss to Plunder Patrol. Yeah, that deck, it just did not put in the work that I think lots of people thought it might have been able to put in. But like I said, I did want to show you guys this Rocket match because it was just fun. I mean, anytime I can have this kind of fun, I am 100% all about it. And so this is what makes Yu-Gi-Oh so much, brings so much joy to me, is when I can have a back and forth match with my opponent. Now, as you can see, are there times where there's a bricked hand? Yeah, this is a going blind second deck. So there's going to be times where that's going to happen, where I'm not going to get that situation that I want. Now, I was a little surprised that he left some damage out there. I really thought he could have went for some extra damage when I was looking at the cards that were on the field. It wouldn't have ended up finishing the duel the way it did, but it might have made me think a little differently from how I was playing. I can take 3K. I'm not worried about that situation. It's when I get below 4 that I'm like, ooh, now I'm in a little bit of a different situation. Again, could not play. That's the hard part about this. There are going to be times you just don't get the hand that you want. But usually, as you saw from the results that I had, which is a 90% rate out of 50 games, winning 45 of the 50, it's pretty good consistency. Now, I did like his play here to get Boot Sector launch. I think that is such a great field spell. I mean, it just puts in so much work. Now, his rolling option there was going for the 4,500 with the Blackluster Soldier. And I'm surprised he is going to kind of do some things differently that you'll see here in a minute. So I'm off and running here. I grabbed 2 cards off Blue Sky. Again, love this card. Set 1, just so I have another column. And then there's usually times where I try to get rid of that card, the Purple Sky, but I thought, I don't think I need to here. So I went for the Morning Star, went and got Legacy Secret, World Legacy Secret. I love that card, and you're going to see why. There were several times where I knew from the deck I was facing from other people that, and if I couldn't OTK them, I was always going for control, always. I did like this idea of Call of the Haunted, because all the rockets floating, and when Call of the Haunted works in a certain way, it's going to continue to float. Notice I'm using Yellow Star's effect because it's not a hard once per turn. I can just keep banishing stuff from my deck or from my graveyard that's one of those Mekk-Knight monsters to clear things. Now, I leave his card out there. I had no way past it, but I've got the trap set, so I'm feeling good about that. Right away, as soon as he activates the field spell, I move the Mekk-Knight to the column where Blackluster Soldier is. Because knowing Rockets, he's probably going to need that zone to do what he wants to do. And boy, was I glad I did that as soon as I saw the boss come out. I mean, oh, does this card put in work. So right away, he tries to chain here, so he gets quick launch off. And I know from the way the chain's going to resolve, I should be fine. And so my card comes out, and then there's the effect. Notice there goes Legacy Secret. He tries it again, but any column a Mekk-Knight monster is in, those monsters' effects for Legacy Secret then makes them negated. And so that completely shut down what this guy was trying to do. It's one of my favorite ways to absolutely play control against somebody with Legacy Secret, because it just works. And then they didn't read the level 2, the Morning Star, that if you're in a different column than the Mekk-Knight card, then you don't take any battle damage. You're basically protected. So then on the end phase, I go ahead and move my Mekk-Knight over, activate Crawler to give me the World Legacy Crown. And so now I'm feeling really fantastic about my odds of winning the duel at this point. It would honestly at this point take a major mess up by me for that to be the situation. So I go link 3 here, and I bring out Equimax. Then I'm going to go ahead and special summon World Legacy. Then again, the effects are just negated, switching everything to attack mode now. Go ahead and use the effect of Red Moon, which pops the card. and then I go ahead and attack, and why not activate Testament, right? I mean, who doesn't love a better Pot of Greed? And then I go ahead and I just attack for game. So that is basically the matches for me. It was either win in one turn, like you saw earlier in the video, or I go complete control with the builds that I had. So my last 10 matches was 7 out of 10. Oh no, wait. So I had 2, and then I also had that. So yeah, so actually it's about an 88% win percentage. It was 44 out of 50. Ended up being my win rate there. Now, there's my ratios. I only play 2 of the Reclusia. I play all 3 of the other ones now. Leonidas, Arborea, Draco, Maximus. All of those are really good, and I want to play them at that ratio. Only 2 of Blue Sky, 1 World Crown, then only 1 Yellow Star, 1 Red Moon. I don't need more than that. I really don't. 1 Kaiju for Sea Turtle, and then the 3 that are the Dust, because they're the cheaper ones. Indigo's great, and then Purple Nightfall, I play at that too. The Harpy's Feather Duster put in some major work at times when I did draw it. Just seemed to come up when I needed it to. I love this quick play, but with memory, you want to make sure you're careful with that, because if you don't use it properly, it will lock you into Mekk-Knights. And again, Legacy Secret just so good. In 1 crawler, because it not only gives me Crown, but it gives me any of the trap or the spells that you just looked at. All of the main Crusadia cards I did go ahead and go with. 1 Morning Star, I probably could bump that up to 2. I just didn't have the gems at the time. 1 Decode, which I had never used, not one single time. The one time I actually tried Avermax, it bit me in the butt. Because of the Morning Star. I did use Appaloosa, and I did use the Underworld Goddess, especially in the mirror. It was great how well that ended up working if they had Avermax out. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. Also, we would love to have you guys be subscribers to the channel. If you ever want to catch what we're doing live, we'd also love to have you guys be followers of our Twitch account. Hey, thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.
But I wait for your next challenge. I know that you'll be back.